right, Kevin, I think we're now back for round two, my friend. Thank you for coming back. Hopefully the folks will find us back in just a minute, but I think what we were where I was wanting to go with our talk was your experiences. You're in high school, you're now, let's say you're a junior, you guys have got some pretty strong teams. You've got excellent defense. So what was going on? What was in your mind? I know you were wanting to play on the next level, but what was going on in your mind from an athletics standpoint and how things were going for Northview?
At that time, Northview was we was doing great. The the whole program, just being there was, it was probably one of the top-notch programs in the state at that year, those years. And Northview was, if you say anything, go anywhere, and people talking about football in the state of Alabama, Northview name comes up, and that was a big honor to us, and not just us, just for the guys that before us that paved that way and won those championships and played those games, and just watching those guys that made us play harder to try to do our very best to try to get that next level too, and try to get to the next to the state championship game too. And just being there, we was probably one of the top-notch teams coming out that year. And Northview was, I mean, it was rolling. The fans, the teachers, the administrators, everybody was on team. The band was doing great. I mean, it was just, I mean, when Northview played in Dothan, everything shut down. Everything. I mean, it wasn't nothing open. Everybody was there. All the kids was there. All the students was there. The student bodies was there. The fans. I mean, the teachers, and Miss C played a big part of it too, because she always comes on Monday morning talking about the game and how much fun she had. And it was just wonderful. It was just a great experience being at Northview at that time.
Well, Kevin, we've talked, obviously, you know, I've talked to Jason Mullins about the Murphy game. I've talked to Coach Josh Harris about the Murphy game. I want to get your take on that. It was such a slugfest, such a defensive oriented game. And it all came down to the fact that y'all were playing in Mobile and not in Dothan for that field goal that Josh swears was a good field goal by Jensen.
I swear it was a good too. And some of the guys, some of the guys played on that team, like Willie Gaston. And when I got to Alabama, we talked about that game. We talked about how it was a defensive game, how hard it was, how bad it, that was a hard fought game. And it was just our defense came to play that night. Both defense came to play that night because neither one of us could not move the ball on each other, and there was a lot of hitting going on out there too. And it was just a great game, a great atmosphere. The crowd, we had a whole our side of the crowd was just as filled up as the other team, and our fans drove all the way to Mobile, and they was there the whole time. The whole atmosphere was just a great atmosphere. And at that, like I said, at that time, Northview it was really on point. And like I said, everybody knew about Northview, and everybody knew if you were gonna play Northview, what type of game you were gonna have.
You better come to play with that team. That's for
Yes.
sure. Now, Kevin, that Murphy game, there must have been a serious number of great athletes on both sides of the field that game. I bet there had to have been a bunch of scouts at that game as well.
Well, they said they had 23 scouts at that game, looking at different players, and Murphy had their players, and we had some of our players. So it was a great atmosphere, and one of the best games atmosphere I've been in high school.
Well, Kevin, when was it during your high school career that the coaches were starting to give you some attention? Either the Northview coaches were coming to you and telling you, hey, Coach so-and-so's asked for you, or the coaches were reaching out to you. When did all that start for you during your high school years?
It started when Troy State came down and looked at Tracy Donnell.
Mhm.
And that's how my name got out there. And it was David Mims. He was one of the coaches at Troy at that time, and he came down and looked at Tracy and discovered me and started talking about me. And somehow my name got out, and it started all the coaches and started contacting me. But Coach Parrish wouldn't give us our letters. We used to try to fight Coach Parrish for our letters. He used to keep our letters, and we'd go in there and steal them. And he would get mad and at us about going in his office, stealing our letters and running out of there. But that's when I really got noticed when Troy came down to look at Tracy. I think my 10th grade year. And they discovered me playing outside linebacker, wheel linebacker. And David Mims told me that story many a times before he passed away about discovering me and going to telling everybody. He was like, man, we're not gonna be able to get this kid when he'll be a senior. And they never tried to get me either. And I was wondering why. I always wondered why Troy never even gave me a phone call.
Well, they probably knew they were ended up competing against the D1 schools in the state, of
Yeah.
which you ended up at the capstone. What was the convincing time, or what convinced you that Tuscaloosa was where you needed to be for your college career? I know you went to junior college beforehand, but you ended up your final 2 seasons at Bama and had great seasons. But what was it about that program at that time that's where you knew you'd end up?
But no, it was easy. It was easy. I was getting recruited by 15. I had 15, 16 offers. Um, and our senior game, we was playing against Viger and Rip Hughes, hurt my knee in Viger, and all my all all the scouts left. Never heard from me at all. Period. Went to surgery. Dr. Andrews did my surgery up in Birmingham when he was with Health South. Woke up out of surgery, looked over to I talked to my mom, looked over to my right. Coach Stalin was sitting right there waiting on me to get out of surgery. And my mom said, "You going there?"
Yeah.
And so I had no choice really, but at the same time, it was a great feeling to have, being one of the top-notch guys coming out to being not having no scholarship, thinking not to have not one call um, to go nowhere. And this guy over here at the University of Alabama sitting beside me saying that if I don't play another snap, he want me to attend the University of Alabama after a bum knee. And he said, but I'm going to send you to junior college first to see if we can make that happen.
Well, I tell you, Kevin, you have no reason to remember this, but I was at the game when you got hurt. And I remember that Dad and I and Robert came over to your house the next day. I think we brought you some ice packs or something to drink, things like that. But I remember watching that. But what an amazing evolution of medicine just to go from the early 90s, it's been 25 plus years, to now your type of injury, how quickly athletes are able to bounce back and play.
Yeah, they it's 6 weeks now. Most of them
Mhm.
is. It's incredible how technology and all that play a big part in it. Just like the tour incident when Bo Jackson got hurt,
That's right.
look how long it took him. It took him out, and now Tua was back in less than a year almost.
Yeah. And he's about to get drafted tomorrow night. But
Exactly.
Kevin, before we get out of here, I don't want to overlook your playing time, your last 2 years at Alabama that were so successful, and then you got some pro time. I know you made the practice squad, I want to say, with Arizona, but you
Yes,
made
sir.
your mark playing in the Arena League. But let's talk for a minute or two about playing at Alabama. You still hold the record for those 3 interceptions versus Georgia. You were named All SEC, All America your senior year. You had such a great success. But what was it, do you think, that you've told us about Coach Mendham and Coach uh, Creel, and then Coach Parrish and your defensive coaches when you were at Northview. Then you go to junior college, but then you step on the field in Tuscaloosa. Did you think at that point, did you have the confidence when you first started in Tuscaloosa that you'd have that success that you during your final 2 years there?
I did. First of all, a lot of people don't know this, Bernard, that I was on my way out of Tuscaloosa the third game of my junior year. I was going to go to Sanford. I had already called those guys and made a visit to come up, and I was going to leave Tuscaloosa. I got there, just wasn't picking up the defense the right way. When felt like the coaches was Coach Oliver. He was on me a lot. Just felt like he wasn't giving me an opportunity to play my game and to focus on how to play it. But at the same time, first game of the season, we played Vanderbilt, your team, and I started my first game. When I first got there, I started the Vanderbilt game and missed the tackle. I hit this guy, the running back, I hit him. Dwayne Rudd hit me off of him, and the guy ran 65 yards. I didn't play no more. The next game we played Southern Miss, Larry Norton team. I played one snap, and the guy that came in for me, the first time he came in for me, he got an interception that game. The Southern Miss game, he got another interception. And then Tracy Cantaloupe comes in town. We play Arkansas. I don't play none. And the backup guy gets another interception. So he got 3 interceptions in 3 games. I'm like, I'm gone. Wow. You know, ain't no use. I'm not going anywhere. So I goes down, and we play Arkansas at home. And I goes down to the Sigma Newhouse. And I'm mad. And so I talked to Keener Baxley and Clay Adams and all of them. They were Sigma News and all. And their mom was down. Miss Baxley was down there. Mr. Baxley was down there. I said, I'm gone. I'm transferring. I'm getting out of here. I said, I'm leaving. I can't handle it no more. I'm not going to sit on the bench or whatever. So Miss Baxley looked at me and said, give it 1 week. Give it 1 week. And Mr. Baxley looked at me and said, give it 1 week. You can leave after 1 week. I said, no, I'm leaving. They said, no, you stand. Give it 1 week. So I said, okay, I'm going to give him 1 week. So we had a bye week that week, and we were going to play Georgia the next week. And so I went back in. We met on Sunday like we always do. And, I'm not starting. The guy in front of me got 3 interceptions, remember, in 3 games. And we go to our team meeting or whatever, and we look at the film or whatever, and goes individual meeting. So I go to my defensive meeting with my defensive back. Coach Oliver looked at us. He's talking about the game. And all of a sudden he says, Keven, we're going to start you this week. And I'm like, huh? And, the guy before me haven't did anything wrong. I mean, he got 3 interceptions. He's making tackles. He's doing everything. And he said, we're going to start you against Georgia. And we had a bye week. He said, you need to get yourself ready to go and play. And let's go. So that week, man, I went out and hit everything that was moving. I was going full speed. I did everything right. I mean, I almost got kicked out of practice a couple of times because I didn't supposed to hit the quarterback. I didn't supposed to hit Sean Alexander. I didn't supposed to hit anybody, but I was nailing them. And so first game, I went out, played against Georgia. And the first mistake, I did. I messed up. And what really clicked on me, Bernard, was when I was messed up the first 3 games, that first game, he kicked me out. He didn't believe in me. I messed up that Georgia game the first time, and I went to the sideline. He put help. He said, just calm down. He said, I got faith in you. Calm down. Went back out there the next play. I got an interception. I left that game with 3 interceptions, 12 tackles, and a touchdown.
And I want to say, I know you were SEC Defensive Player of the Week, but you might have been for the country too. I can't.
Well, I was SEC Player of the Week. DeShay Townsend was. He got the fumble against. We blocked the kick and he ran the ball back 6 or 7 yards against Georgia that day too. So he got player of the week all week that week too.
Well, thank you to the Baxleys. Thank you to Brother Oliver for believing in you.
Yeah,
And then your natural gifts just took over. You
yeah,
probably
and
you probably
and I
just
still
stopped you probably just stopped overthinking and just started being and
yeah,
playing.
and I wonder what Miss Baxter and them was saying. I know she, bless her heart, she's gone, and Mr. Baxter's gone. But if it wasn't for them, I'd probably be at Sanford somewhere playing my football days.
Well, the Alabama nation, I'm sure, is very thankful you stayed for that game. Well, Kevin, we've got another minute or two, bud, but I want you to share with us 99% of us never sniff the NFL or any professional leagues. Talk to us what you remember about, and we've got about 3 more minutes, but what do you remember about being with the Cardinals for that short period and then being in the Arena League?
Well, just remember it was different. It was very different. It was really, really business related, and it was more, like I said, it was more business. It wasn't fun like being in college. It was, but at the same time, it was about being on your own, taking care of your own business, doing your own thing, working out on your own time. It was just seemed like it was just, like I said, very business minded, and it was just another step up from college, but just without having fun with it. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Cardinals those couple of months I was there, and and a lot of people don't know I went back to them 3 or 4 times that year
Oh,
to for practice squad. Somebody got hurt, they'll call me and I get on the plane and go and practice and go through go through it, and it was just it was a great feeling to be there. At the same time, um, I enjoyed every minute of it. Playing arena football, it was different. But just having these friendships that I met along the way, that was the big thing for me. At the same time, just getting those guys, and I had the opportunity to play in the NFL. I had the opportunity to play arena football. I went over to Amsterdam for 2 weeks to play 2 games, the last 2 games of the season, and just had a wonderful time doing it. And I wouldn't change it for the world, because it's always a path for me, and that path wasn't me to play 8 years in the NFL, but the thing that I enjoyed was I got an opportunity to go to college. I got an opportunity to get my degree. I got an opportunity to get my master's degree from the University of Alabama. So I'm grateful for all that football done. If it weren't for football, no, I don't know where I'll be at, because I was, like I said, I was a kid from Headland Avenue and Martin Holmes. So I've came a long way.
well, Kevin, you have been a good friend to a lot of folks. It's clearly evident by all of these awesome comments and shout outs this evening. So when we get finished in a minute, you need to go in there and read them if you hadn't seen any of them, because
I
there
will.
are a lot of good shout outs. But guys, you heard it from one of the very best in our program's history, Keven Jackson. And Kevin, thank you for coming back in after you lost the internet and finishing up with me here, bud.
Thanks for having me, man, and keep up the good work.
Absolutely. Well, guys, again, you heard it from one of the very best tonight, Kevin. We're going to hear from one of the very best next week with Lawrence Dawsey. You guys have a great week, and we will catch you another time. Be well.